Okay, so today we are doing lesson 4.4. Yesterday we talked about graphing quadratic functions in standard form. Today we're talking about vertex form. Okay? Now if you notice, standard form was like y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Remember how we had an a, b, and c? This one you notice is written differently. Okay? This way is actually easier. Okay? So we're going to go through this. So it's y equals a, and then you have x minus h squared plus k. Your vertex, you don't have to do any work for it when it is in this form. Your vertex is h comma k. If you look here, though, in this problem, what is h right now? It's a negative. So basically what it's saying is whatever is in parentheses, when it comes out, it's going to be the opposite. Kind of like how when we factor and we have our two factor equations, like you have x minus 3 and x plus 2, we set those equal to 0 and solve. You set this equal to 0 and solve. But most of you can do that in your head, I think, now. Right? Okay. Your line of symmetry is just like before. It's always going to be the x value of the vertex. Right here it's saying h is the x value of the vertex, so that's why it's x equals h. Okay? Same thing, it opens up. If your a value, your a now is in front of this parenthesis. So if your a is positive, it's going to graph up. If your a is negative, it's going to go down. Okay, now we kind of talked, maybe we didn't talk about this yesterday at all. The size of your parabola is wider if a is a fraction, and your size of a parabola is narrower, however you want to say that, if a is a number greater than 1. Okay, so if it's a fraction, that just means it's going to be like wide. And if it's a number that is greater than 1, it's going to get smaller and smaller. Okay? All right, so we're going to do the same type of stuff as we did yesterday when we're graphing. Okay? So the first thing we're going to do is find our vertex. Okay, so again, finding our vertex, and if you want to do this, you can. We would put x plus 2 equals 0, subtract 2, and we get x equals negative 2. That is the x value of the vertex. Okay, so whatever's in here, you set that equal to 0 and solve. At some point, hopefully, you can do this in your brain, and that if it's positive 2 over here, it's going to be negative 2. Do you see how this one's like all by itself? It's not in parentheses. That one is just whatever it is. That's the y value of the vertex. Because we'd find the y value. Well, never mind. So this is the answer is 5. Okay. So with that information, we know that our line of symmetry is what? X equals negative 2. Very good. It's always the x value of the vertex. Okay, on this one, our graph. Is our graph going up or down? How do you know it's going down? Because there's a negative in front. Very good. And if it's going down, that means is it max or min? Max. And what is my maximum value? 5. It's always the y value of the vertex gives you your max or min value. Okay? And then let's go ahead and sketch this. So where do I go? Negative 2 up 5. From there, our graph goes which way? Cha-ching. Okay? And then our line of symmetry just goes through the middle. And you're done. A little easier than yesterday, huh? Okay.
Do you really have to follow the rule like wider and narrower? You really have to make it smooth?
No, but you'll have questions on your test, though, that will ask you, like, which one's wider or which one's narrower. So you need to know that information, but don't worry about when you're drawing it. Okay, example 2. So we're going to do the same type of thing here. Let's start. What is our graph? Is it going up or down? How do you know it's going up? Positive. Do you see any negative numbers here in front? No. Okay, so is it max or min? Min. Very good. Okay. Then we have our vertex. What is going to be my x value, the vertex on this one? -4. And again, you can take this part and set it equal to 0 if you want to. X plus 4 equals 0. Subtract 4, and you get x equals -4. Okay, your y value is just the number at the end. What number is at the end? 0. Good job. Okay, with that information, I know that my line of symmetry is what? Not -4. No. It's an equation. Thank you. X equals -4. Do not forget x equals. It is x equals -4. And what's my minimum value? 0. Okay, so let's go graph that. Where am I going to go? Left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 0. And my graph was going up. And my line of symmetry is through the middle. Questions? All right. Next problem. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Vienna. You're always looking in the front, okay? And see here on example 2 how there is no number in front. That means there's really a positive 1. So since there's a positive 1 there, that means that your graph is going up because it's positive. If you looked back on example 1, see how it's a -1/4? It's going down because there's a negative number. Other questions? Michael, is that a question?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay, example 3. So the information that you need for this one, we want to know our graph. I'm going to have you guys do this on your own, but I'm going to help you remember what you need. So your graph, you're going to decide if it's going up or down, and then you're going to decide if it's max or min. You need to know what your vertex is, and you need to know your line of symmetry. Okay? I'm going to give you about a minute or less to try this on your own. Good. And you can show me on your whiteboards if you want to what your answer is, or I can check a few of you. Good. And then graph. If it's going down, it's going to be a maximum, so it's smaller. Yes. I think you, no, perfect. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Most of you that I checked did it correctly. Very nice. Okay, so first of all, is my graph going up or down? Up. Very good. Okay, and how do we know it's going up? Your A value is positive. Okay, since it's going up, is that maximum or minimum? It is minimum, and the reason for that is that you have a minimum point because everything else is bigger. Everything else is going up. Okay, my vertex, what is the x value of the vertex? -2, because whatever is in parentheses ends up being the opposite, right? If you set that equal to 0, you get x equals -2. What is my y value? -3. With that information, we know that our line of symmetry is what? No.
X equals -2.
Thank you. X equals -2. And what is my minimum value? -3. When we graph, we go left 2, down 3, make a point. From there, my graph is going up. And then my line of symmetry is there in the middle. Yes?
So why was the 5 there?
The 5, okay, so this 5 right there is your A. So that's telling you if you're going up or down. It also is telling you if it's wider or narrower. So since that's 5 is a number, it would be a narrower graph, where if this was like 1/5, it'd be a wider graph. Okay? All right, any other questions right now? All right, let's do example 4. This one is set up just a little bit different in that if you notice, there isn't a parenthesis here with the x squared term. Do you see that? But there also isn't like a plain x term where we could factor and stuff. So what do you think? So really, and I'm just going to kind of rewrite this so you see it. This is the same thing as this. You could write that as 3 times x plus 0 squared minus 5. So whenever you see like an x squared by itself, it's like having an x plus 0 with it. Okay? So on this one, what is your graph? Is it going up or down? How do we know it's going up?
3 is positive.
Because the 3 is positive. Since it's going up, is it max or min? Minimum. Good, because everything else will be bigger. We need to also know what our vertex is, okay, and our line of symmetry. On here, my vertex, what is the x value of the vertex? 0. Very good. Okay, so at some point you might not need to rewrite this. You'll just know if you have x squared by itself, then it's going to be 0 for the x. And then my y value is what? -5. Good. Okay, with that information now, I know that my line of symmetry is what? No. No.
X equals 0.
X equals 0, and my minimum value is
-5.
-5. So when we go to graph this one, we go 0 on the x and down 5. Make a point. From there, our graph goes up. Would this one be a wider or a narrower graph? Narrower. Fractions are wider. Okay? And then your line of symmetry goes through the 0. Yes?
How would you know if it's a maximum or minimum graph?
Good. Do you see right here, this point? This point is a minimum point because everything else on this graph is going to be bigger. See how the parabola is going up? And so this is minimum.
Also, if it's going up, there's minimum, and if it's going down, there's maximum.
Right. Because you have a maximum point, everything else is smaller when it's going down. Okay? Other questions? All right, example 5. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys about a minute again to try this one on your own. I'll be right around. I'm just going to write a couple of these things really quick. Good.
Okay, this is Ryan. You just wrapped it. Right. Good.
All right, so it looks like most of you got it. So on here, my graph, is it going up or down?
Down.
Down. Why do we know it's going down?
Negative.
There's a negative in front, okay? Is this going to be max or min then? Max. Good. Okay, what is my vertex on here?
6,
-6,
-5.
-5. Very good, which means that my line of symmetry is
X equals 6.
x equals 6, and my maximum value is -5. When we go to graph, we go 6 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My graph was going down, and this is my line of symmetry. Okay? Questions?
We have like 40 seconds left.
All right, perfect timing.